Welcome back to the Journey of You podcast, everybody. We have an extra special episode today. It's all about just go. Just go. Just go. Here's why. The most critical aspect of anything that you're creating, anything new you're creating, anything you're doing in your life is just going for it. I mean, how many times have you heard this? But here's why, is that just going for it brings you into joy. When you take action from an aligned place of truth, right? We're not just talking about just going for it and taking mindless action. What the kind of just go we're going to talk about today is the kind of just go that's like when you know you have connection to your truth and your intuition, but you may be holding back on how you think it needs to be. Because when you just go for it, when you just allow the energy from your intuition and from your inherent life force energy that we've talked about at length on this podcast, is that when you're operating out of that energy and you realize that there's just something that you could be doing now, and you allow that energy to flow, what happens is that builds momentum over time. It's like a snowball effect, right? Yeah. And then conversely, right, if you're waiting for things to be perfect, if you're waiting things to be just right, if you're holding back that energy. You have energy flushing through you and starting to give you stuff. But if you have some sort of concept, which we will share our concepts about this because we've definitely had them ourselves, right, Felicia?
Absolutely.
Is that if you think it's just got to be just right and you're waiting for just the right moment to act or to do anything, or having like all of your ducks in a row before you can do the thing, you're going to keep that energy that's living inside of you small and stagnant, and oftentimes it goes nowhere. It just fizzles out,
it dissipates. Yeah, exactly. Fizzles out is such a great word for that. And it's like when you have that intuition and that truth come in, there's this wave of energy like, ooh, that feels so joyful. Mm-hmm. And if you can feel that energy, what Devin is saying is like, when you take action from that place, that energy goes exponentially bigger. Mm-hmm. And it's so much fun to play in.
Mm-hmm. And you're letting that energy like flow you, right? It's like, if you allow that energy to compel you or push you or like float you, if you will. Like think of it as like a river. There's an energy behind you that if you just jump in the river, it will carry you along, right? So there's an energy that I think we all have had that experience when you get really excited about something, right? Like you have this idea and you're just like, oh, I just want to like, and then you're laying there at night and 5-6 ideas come in, and this can be the most alluring phase of any creation process or anything is the whole ideas and the formulation. And this is where a lot of people can just kind of stay in dreamland of a project or an idea, because it is the most alluring, because it's the most exciting. It has the most energy, right? It has that exhilaration.
And the most possibility too.
Oh my God, such a good point, Felicia. It has all this possibility energy to it because it's big energy, right? We're talking about this big energy that is there that could uplift and support and spark more joy and spark more life. Welcome back to another episode of Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin and Chris, and we're here for joy.
This podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive in to today's episode.
Let's give the listener something really tangible to help us understand what kind of premise you're talking about here, right? So Devin, you said we have lots of places where this has happened in our lives, and I can think of an infinite number. Why don't you start us off with where this has happened in your life?
Oh my gosh, right? Because it's as with many things on this podcast, is that we are using our real lives. And just recently I had this, and I was talking at length with Felicia about this whole premise and idea this whole last week about just go, right? Because I, as many of you know, as I'm a coach and a healer, and I've wanted to offer group coaching options to where more people can have access to my trainings and my teachings and the way that I teach people to live by intuition. But not everybody can afford a one-on-one session, and I've been wanting to launch programs for like this for years, to be honest. And oftentimes in the past, pretty much every time, what has happened is I hold back, right? I'll get into that excitement and that phase, but then when it goes to actually taking action, my old self that needed to have everything be perfect and have everything in line and just know exactly what's ahead, that is I would end up having my energy be there more, and I wouldn't actually ever take action. I would never actually launch a program. I would never do it. And I would just stay in that kind of rumination phase of dreaming about it and being like, one day I'll have the structures in place, and one day it'll be perfectly set up the way those pros do that I see online, right? It's like the whole comparison game. And so I ended up just being paralyzed and doing nothing and just holding back, right? Whereas in this last week, it just came to me of just like, I just gotta go. I just gotta do it. It's not gonna be perfect. It's I don't know what's gonna happen, but I just need to do something different than what I've been doing. And historically, what I do is don't do the thing, right? And so I wanted to launch this group coaching program called Live Your Wilds, and I had so much energy around it, so much excitement, and I connected with Felicia on some of my imagery and some of my social media stuff, and honestly, both kind of fell into the trap of like, oh, well, this needs to shift and this needs to stop. And I just could see my old pattern there. And I was like, look, I love you, Felicia. And I know all this, but like, I just got to do something. I just got to freaking go. I just got to go. And so I just launched the program, and I've launched my social media. And sure, it's not going to be perfect. Honestly, the way the numbers look right now, it's not going to be the way that I would really want it to be. And that's the reason why my ego would have wanted me to hold back in the past. But what I'm learning is it's actually about learning is what's working and what's not working. What systems do I need in place? What refinement needs for future launches, right? But the only way that we can getting into the nitty-gritty of that is doing something and learning as we go. It's actually with many things that high-level creators and people is that they just start with an idea and they just keep going, and you learn and adjust and you learn and adjust. And so, I basically just see it now as it's basically my relationship with exposure. I didn't want to be seen, didn't want to be out there in the world with my greatness as a leader and a teacher and being like, hey, I have things to offer, right? And that's really what was holding me back. And so as much as my ego can sit here and pick at the launch as it's happening right now, I've learned more about myself in the process of what it really takes to get things going, and just being somebody who just does the thing, like just go, just launch the thing and learn from there. And that's how we get better. So that's a real life example for me, literally just in the last week and real time. How about you? Felicia? I know we're both recovering perfectionists.
Woof, are we ever? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate, as we've mentioned, I'm also, getting into this coaching, right? And that was a big, scary thing for me to just jump into, because as we talked about in our ego episode as well, it's like there's so many things that want to keep you small, want to keep you where you are because that's comfortable. You don't have to do anything different. And so when I was launching the business, I was like, oh, I need a website. Oh, but I don't have any website design experience. I don't know how to do anything. I don't have an idea. I don't know what to say. And I sat on it for 2 years. It was so long. I was like, oh my gosh. And I even took a 300-hour yoga teacher training course. And one of the requirements was to have a website where you can like go into yoga and like learn more with you. It didn't even have to be fancy. It could just be subscribe to your newsletter. And I couldn't do it for some reason. I was just, and a lot of it was about the exposure, about being seen, and also about having it be exactly the way I wanted it to be. I wanted it to look, I wanted it to be professional. And so I held back, and 2 years, it just kind of sat there like, yeah, I need a website. And it's digging at you. And one day I was like, I did take a creative residency course, which really helped, the creative flows. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I sat down, I set a Pomodoro technique kind of timer thing. And it took 2 days, and that was it. And then once I started, right, the words flowed. I didn't need to know exactly what to say in advance, because as what Devin's talking about, the river, right? As you jump in, as your feet are already getting carried away, right? The rest of the stuff comes in so quickly and so much more magnificently than you ever could have just thought about if you sat there and planned out every single little word before you even typed it on the computer, right? And so this process of learning and growing by doing is accepting that we won't be perfect. You know, one of my coaches originally said to me, did you throw strikes the first time you stepped on a bowling lane? And I was like, no.
Well, I was about to say, it's funny how we have the context of learning for so many things, right? Like, tried and true example is riding a bike, right? It's like you had to learn, you had to adjust, you had to find your balance, you had to get your bearings, right? It's such a great metaphor for really anything that we endeavor in our lives is that there's going to be a time frame where you feel off balance, where you like you're just trying to get your orientation with things, right? But if we were to hold back on anything new because it would feel awkward or because it would be like,
then we would never do anything.
How would we have done anything?
Riding bikes.
Yeah. This example comes to me of one of my mentors and teachers talked about, like, let's take it like real extreme. Can you imagine if you as a little baby, the first times you got up to try to walk and you couldn't walk and you're like, I'll just go ahead and give up now. Right? Like, how extreme is that? Of like that sounds ridiculous, of just being like, I'll just give up on walking. Like right? And so it's when we take it back to these, like, some of our most basic foundational lessons in our lives of our relationship with being in the unknown. We have so many things in our lives that I just get the sense that we'd probably just gloss over. We just like take for granted the number of times actually in our lives that we have stepped into the unknown and not known, not known, and done it anyway. Right. And what a beautiful thing that you talked about in terms of learning to walk, because I was watching a TikTok the other day and it was talking about, it was a bunch of babies in a room with snakes. Oh, wow. Okay.
And the parents are watching and they're all freaking out and they're behind a glass, right? So you can't, like the babies can't see their fear.
Yeah.
But fear is a learned response over time based on our environment, based on our caretakers, right? Who's around us and who's teaching us to have these fears. So now I have this fear that my website's not going to be received well, that there are consequences to my actions, right? And what are the actual consequences? Oh, I did something cool that I'm proud of. Like, oh, no one saw my website. Okay. Right. Like, no one's seeing my website when it's not done. So like, why don't I just do it? Right?
True.
And while we're talking about this in terms of like starting a business or launching courses, what I also love about your bike riding example is this applies to anything that wants to make your heart sing. You want to go take vocal lessons. You want to go pick up a guitar. You want to go surfing, right? Like, just go do it.
Just doing one thing, right? And that's really what it is. I think that's where a lot of people get overwhelmed is that we think we need to be doing everything now or everything yesterday, like, and as much as
too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because we're coming from that scarcity of I'm not there yet, right? Whereas from this place, it's like it's an acknowledgement of where we are, right? We're saying, okay, here I am. I recognize I need to take steps forward, and I have a gajillion that I could take. But what we want to focus in on is just what's the one thing. And so we're going to go through a demonstration here for you to look at these energy dynamics in yourself, and then also bring you into essentially, what's the one thing that you could just go on right now that would have the greatest impact in your life? You ready? Let's discover.
Let's go.
Okay. So I invite you to take a nice breath in and letting go. One more time. Breathe, nice breath in and letting go. And allowing yourself to think of anything, something that you have been pondering about, thinking about, debating on doing in your life. Notice how long you've thought about this. Something that really means something to you, that you've had a lot of energy around, a lot of mental activity, a lot of pondering. And notice the energy that you've already had in and around this project, this idea, this creation, this something in your life. Notice all the energy that you've already had towards it. How much you already care about it, how much you're already actually energetically invested into it. And now I want you to notice how it feels to do nothing with that energy. Yeah. Notice all that energy that's there inherently, because it does actually excite you, but you do nothing with that energy. Notice how it feels. Notice what happens to your mind and your energy as a whole. Now, I invite you to shift into imagining that you have all that energy that you've been building, creating excitement, once back again into where those ideas are flowing. And you notice how much energy is going towards this project, this idea, this creation. But in this scenario, you allow the energy to flow. And rather than doing nothing with that energy, you use that energy to ask your intuition, to ask your inner wisdom. So just float this question out there, being willing to receive the answer. So what would be of most benefit for me to take action on right now? And now imagine yourself going for it. Imagine yourself taking action and doing just that one thing. As tiny as it is, whatever it is, just do the one thing. See yourself doing it. See yourself following your intuitive guidance that you got. Notice how that feels. Notice the energy dynamics now. To have had that energy, used that energy, and then moved and let the energy flow like the river. Noticing now, is there more or less energy than when you even started? And lastly, what's your sense of self? How do you feel about yourself having taken just one little action, just one little thing? I just really invite you to acknowledge that for yourself, what that feels like, just for you. To notice what it feels like when you allow that energy that's flowing through you to be used, to just go, to allow that energy to just go. And I invite you to take a nice breath in and letting go. Allowing your cells to embed this energy, this feeling, this sensation. If you want more of it, if you want to feel this way more, I invite you to breathe this into your cells now. And then slowly in your own time, making your way back to the present moment. If you feel that you want more time, feel free to pause and relish in this sensation. But we're going to come back together. And I would love to hear what your experience was, Felicia. Share with the folks at home what that was like for you.
I didn't know what was going to come up.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting coming into this like blank slate. So what came up for me? I am going to Hong Kong to bowl the World Championships in November. And there's a part of me that has not allowed it to be true, that has held back on feeling the good feelings because of past quote unquote experience. Well, I was going to say past quote unquote failures, which let's call them experiences, right? The whole learning by doing. And so, and learn fear, right? So the last few world championships have definitely not gone to how I've hoped, how I've expected. And it led me to inaction. Like, okay, if I don't if I actually don't practice, if I don't like give it my all, like I'll have a built-in excuse for not performing that well or not needing to hope that it could be better. Right. And so just that acknowledgement in itself is like, okay. And right now we get into the good stuff, is like, when I think about how good it could be, right? Performing at my best, performing in the most flow while I'm in Hong Kong, and what action to take right now, today, is just journaling about that experience. Journaling about letting it be beyond my wildest dreams. What would happen if everything was amazing? And just letting myself be in that space. Right. And then further to that, you were like, okay, where would that lead you? What flow would that bring? And I was like, ooh, every morning I would sit and have like a 5 to 10 minute visualization where I'm just at Worlds and I'm enjoying every single thing about it. And yeah, no, just how much that feels amazing and cool.
Right.
We spend so much time ruminating on the bad things, and you're like, I could spend that much, if not more, dreaming about the deliciousness of life.
Right. And what's fascinating about this, every single time that I take myself and any of my clients or anybody through this, is the one action isn't always what you would expect. Most of the time, it's actually not. The one action ends up being something that a lot of times in our mental constructs of our ego would think, journaling. What the hell is journaling going to do? You know what I mean? Like, right?
Yeah, like you should be getting out there and practicing.
Exactly, right? If you were using a mental construct of what should be done versus through intuition, what I hear and what I just feel compelled to like extract out for our listeners is that it's about being in energy. You journaling is being in that energy. You sitting in that energy for 5 to 10 minutes is being in that energy of a positive end result of high vibe energy of how you would really love the event to go, versus if you're coming from that place of like, I'm pretty sure it's going to go poorly because of the past, I need to practice more. It's a very different energy. And so this is all about energy dynamics, you guys. As we're talking about just going, I really want people to hear, it's just like energy is already flowing. That's why you're getting ideas. That's why we're like inherently excited and connected. But it's when we take the one action, the energy flows through. So when Felicia journals, that energy is flowing through her, right? And for me, that's when I just did this. It was literally, I was actually experiencing like real time right now is that if I were to hold back, right? If I hold back on energy, I literally feel stiff in my body. Like my thoracic spine, my whole chest locks up, and it's like I end up thinking too much. Like I just end up like my energy's trapped. So I end up just like inside. Whereas if I just do the one thing and just take action, which for me, as I was doing it, was like leading the meditation. It was taking this energy of the teachings of just go and just going with them and letting this energy move through. It literally feels like my light that comes into me is able to flow out and through me to be shared. It's like energy is actually moving through my system. So it allows me to not be in my mind and to be here really present energetically with you and the episode and the listeners. And so you guys feel that. You guys are going to feel when I'm fully here versus if I was pulled back in my energy and in my mind. And so for me, it's a genuine energy dynamics in my body. And then there's other times where it's also very much about the energy flow of a project, but it's for this particular day and this particular time, it really just felt like energy moves through me so I can be a lot more real and more present and more
and living,
more willing to like use my real life examples to help people, right? Which makes the greatest impact. Like if I were to just wait, just comes to me, if I were just to wait until I felt perfectly comfortable in everything that I was going to say to everyone, I would have never started this podcast.
And I would have never joined this podcast.
We would never do the things that like, we would have never had the joy of doing this podcast. We would never have had the, ability to like, I mean, it just feeds so many things, right? It feeds us, it feeds the listener. Like I've gotten so many comments on just like, I love how real it is. And I love how, but also tangible and action oriented it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
how
this is what
experiential it is.
exactly. And that's what we're passionate about, you guys, is that we exist on this podcast for you to actually change your life, for you to actually experience more joy, to let this energy move through you.
Can I add one thing?
Please.
What I love is when you mentioned how you feel the stagnation in your body.
Yeah.
Right. So your thoracic spine locks up. As I was doing your demo, right, and I was going through the first part of it, I could feel my shoulders hunching. Yep. I could feel myself crouching over and kind of feeling defeated. And whereas when Devin's guiding us through, okay, now imagine you're taking action, right? And my whole chest starts like puffing, not like puffing up, but like growing, my spine grows taller. My breath is more clear, it's deeper, and I'm nodding and smiling. Right. And so one cue for all of you listeners is notice, even sometimes when we're not aware of what our minds are thinking, you can feel it in your body. And if you notice that, and this goes for whatever you're doing, right? If you notice yourself slouching or like crouching forward or kind of hanging your head, like that's actually a physical signal for you. Like, oh, what can I shift here? What can I lean into here that will be of benefit to me?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, that's what this is. It's an invitation to lean in. And when we feel contractive energy, we're not going to want to lean into that. But when we feel that expansive, open energy, we just naturally lean in. Like when Felicia was saying, like her chest, it's not a puff up. It's more of a lean in. It's more of a like, a, yes, more of that, please.
Yes, I'm invited. I am welcome. I'm welcoming this in as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Please. So here's your invitation to lean in, your invitation to just take the one action, whatever that one action was for you. Please take it. Please do it. Please just go. Just go.
The one that lights you up, the one that gets you sparkly and like, ooh, excited, exhilarated.
Well, you may honestly like I love what you're saying there, Felicia, but honestly, some people may not be excited about the action step. What I invite people to is, if you're excited about it, awesome. If you're not excited about it, there's even more reason to just do the one little action, because what that's going to show you is what happens when you just simply take the one action. And this is where a lot of people who have a dysfunctional relationship with action, what ends up happening is that an action will come forward that is the most important critical action for them to take. But because they have this relationship with action, not wanting to take action, even a simple thing like journaling can be a barrier, right? And so as much as I love your sentiment, I do want to be real with people that you may not love the action that just came forward, but I still invite you to do it. I still invite you to just go, you know?
Can I add on a question here?
Yeah, what's up?
Right, because we're talking about also like when action's in alignment with truth, right? So if the action itself is scary, when does a listener know that their action is aligned?
When you know where you're coming from, right? So when we did the demo and we know we're coming from truth and we're tapping into our intuition, then we know that that's coming from a higher place, a place of purity, a place of true alignment, a place of our truth, right? Mm-hmm. So when we have that premise and that orientation of I'm tapping into my truth so that I can know, it's all about intention, right? If I'm stepping into a circle or stepping into a demo with the intention that I will receive my truth, we have to take it as that. If we didn't set the intention, right? If you mindlessly go into a demo and you're just like, let me just see what's in here, you're probably just going to recreate the same belief systems that you have, versus if you're setting an intention, you're asking for good quality information from your genius. You know?
Perfect.
It's a great question, because I'm sure other people have that. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So take that true aligned action. Take the one action today. Just go. And we just invite you to notice the energy, notice the change in your energy and the pizzazz that you have towards this project after you take the action. Not now. Right now, you may not be so jazzed about it. You may be like, oh, shit, I have to do something, right? I get it. I've been there. But just like, please lean in and let us know. Let us know how it goes. Notice that for yourself, really. Look, this is all for you guys. It's all your choice, your gift. But as we bring in this energy of just go, we share it with you. We share it with you, my friends. We share it with you. Time to just go. Time to just go.
Go and flow.
Yep. So with that, time for us to go. We will see you. We will see you next episode. Much love, much joy, and we'll talk to you later.